Hello, and welcome to the Holistic Living, Learning, and Loving podcast, where we are bringing you back to the basics.
We explore sustainable living and holistic health and strive for progress, not perfection.
So please join us on a wellness journey and feel empowered to make positive changes in your life.
Okay.
I took this class with Donna Caire, I don't know, Caire. She does these massages for me, like abdominal massage and I don't know, blood flow, lymphatic kind of fascia, very minute touches, but she says that she's releasing blockages and things like that. So I'd always have the sensitivity, like if anybody touched me, like if Mike would touch me on my lower abdomen to the left of my belly button, I would always be like, oh God, it's just shockingly sensitive, crazy.
Really?
And then I go to her and she does this stuff and it's just like, it seems light, her touches, but she'll do it on basically your whole body. And she'll work on that spot, and I'm like gripping the table, right? I'm like, oh my God. It's just like tickles, I guess, I'm very uncomfortable. One time, all of a sudden, I just had this crazy, like almost like rush, almost euphoric feeling. And I was like, that's crazy. And then she was like, oh, I just got it free. And I was like
and
what?
And these are light touches?
Yeah, pretty light. They're not hard by any means, not like a deep tissue massage or something. Probably more like a Swedish, I guess.
Yeah, I have no idea what that means. But okay.
In the massage world. So I have no doubt, like, I don't know what exactly she does. She has trained in South America with really old treater type people that help those communities and those like tribes of people, some really cool stuff like the Mayan abdominal massage kind of stuff. You can Google it. But she gave this class, and it's at this women's center in Abita Springs. If anybody's interested, I'll post about it. I'll post the link to the women's center in the show notes. But it was just really cool. She talks about women's health and bodies and stuff like that, and how to heal naturally, and that's why I went. But so she starts out, and she's talking about how life started, right? This universe, Big Bang, particles of energy, and some elemental materials and stuff like that, and how they expanded in the universe and basically just created this universe and steadily opening and expanding in time. But, we live on this rock, and all these elements are just in our life, the few criticals, nitrogen and oxygen, all that stuff, but all the metals as well, and how that's all just part of our body, and how nature repeats itself. You've seen the tree, how it looks like a lung, and and the tree, and just like it looks like a mirror image of
and like a walnut and a pecan looks like a brain.
Oh, really? I haven't seen that one.
They say it's supposed to be really good for your brain. Walnuts for sure. I just think a pecan also looks like a brain, but I don't know.
I don't know about that.
You don't think a pecan looks like a brain? Nick said the same thing. Like, what is wrong with y'all? It looks like a brain.
Okay. I don't know. I eat a lot of pecans, very bougie pecans, so I know a thing or two about pecans. So, and it's just like it just opens your mind to that and how we are of nature, and so it was just really cool. I don't know.
That's kind of what I was talking about in a video I posted the other day of all the wildness in my backyard.
Yeah.
Like what they say, which I believe 100%, what grows around us is exactly what we need. And that makes all the sense in the world because we're a product of our environment. Mm-hmm. And the things that we need are going to be in the most local part of our environment, and what grows around us, everything that has the light information from the sun that we are receiving, the same sunlight in its density, its brightness, its season, everything, what is growing around us is experiencing all of those same things as we are,
Yes.
And so therefore that's what we should be consuming and what we need. And that's kind of the same concept as what you were saying.
Exactly. It's exactly like that. If you really look for it, you'll find how it's like everything is coded similarly. So that was really cool. She talked about how we moved away from nature over time, how we first started out on all fours, like in the dirt, in the leaves and the grass and all that stuff, and I'm talking about like evolved long ago, and whenever we made that progression outside of nature was a big step away from that. I mean, and then we did it again over time after that, and then after the domestication of fire, which brought more people together and to like live in like communities, bigger communities, but still just, you know, not too many people. And then they would, you know, hunter gather a little bit more and stuff like that. And that was a big step, huge step in time. And then after that, you know, big space of time before we kind of have this agricultural revolution, right?
That's where everything went south, I find.
Yeah, no, yeah, the domestication of fire was great, you know, it's what we needed to bring us together, but then the agriculture domestication definitely put everybody far away, and it made like 97% of people dependent on 3% of farmers, you know, which is just an incredible burden on any system. How can that ever sustain itself without, you know, resorting to, you know, advances in knowledge and stuff and chemistry and all those things to just make it the way it is.
And just relying on agriculture at all. Before, we were just getting food that grew randomly in nature, hunters, gatherers. That's what I always say, that like, that's how, when we think of health and how we should live, it should be like hunter-gatherer, right? As much as possible. Yeah. That's how I personally feel. I feel like agriculture altogether is not really where it's at.
But the problem is you move away from convenience, right? But that's a very far move away from convenience to have to go hunter-gatherer all the time.
Yeah, of course. That would
so you're basically, instead of working 9 to 5, you're just out there and like trying to get some shit. And
that's exactly how I want to live, though. Like, that's how I plan to live before I die. But that's me personally. I don't expect the whole... Well, I mean...
That's
a lot of people like
different
that
kind of stress. Like, what if you don't find anything in that day? Your family
but you're putting up food in the meantime. You know
I guess
what I mean?
It's different, you know, for them versus us. I'm like, well, what if you can't find any? You'll starve. Oh no.
There's
like,
a lot of
Walmart.
But there's a lot of food. Like, there's so many people out there who only eat what they hunt. Like, you just don't know them, you know, because you don't hang out with those people. But there's a lot of people. There's birds. There's ducks. There's shit everywhere. There's squirrels.
That is true.
You can find food. It's just
Someone
your idea of food
box
is
turtles last night.
Your idea of food is just different.
This lady came down our street, and we're like, a lot of the neighborhood was out walking last night, and she had a bucket, and she's like, I live in the neighborhood back behind you, and I found these box turtles in our backyard. Like, she thought they were somebody's pets. And it's funny because those are just wild over here, you know, like I have them in my backyard all the time. But it was funny, so I was like, oh, I'll take them. Of course, I would love to take them. So we released, the girls like had the best time releasing them in the pond. Yeah. And like I was like, at first I was like, Mike, don't let them touch them. And then I was like, let them touch the turtles.
Why? What were you scared of?
Like salmonella, I guess, because we were gonna eat right after.
You wash your hands.
I know. Okay, I was being overprotective, and then I was like, Heather, come on, get a grip. It's not like a snapping turtle, like, oh, she's missing a finger now.
Yeah, I would play with those. But yeah, like, I definitely think that that's how we should live. Like, I know everybody's not going to want to live like that and everything, but I think that society could move more towards that direction, at least, like, try to somewhat. Like, so, let me tell you about this book I just listened to, called, it's like a rewilding project. Hold on, give me 1 second. It is called Stagtine by D. Firth Griffith. This guy was doing regenerative farming, and he just, like, they kept running into problems, and he's like a poet too. Everything just wasn't working out right, and it was a lot more difficult than he thought it would be, because, you know, the whole concept of regenerative farming, that's supposed to be the best kind of farming you can do as far as health and, like, you know, humane for the animals, all of that. But he kind of came to the conclusion that in this system we're still controlling things, we're still controlling everything. Like, for example, the cows, you're still keeping the bulls separate from the cows and controlling when they mate. In nature, that would never occur. First of all, think about how that bull feels. All he wants to do is, like, lead the herd and be with those cows and mate with them, and he's, like, miserable all the time until he finally gets to go and be with them, you know, and that's really just not sad. Yeah, that's just not how a herd would be in nature. He decided to he has like 400 acres, which this would require a lot of land. And I imagine it's fenced. I don't know. But
God damn.
I guess it can't be, but I guess he has to keep this on his land somehow. I'm not sure how he does that.
I guess with that many acres, it's like, how freaking far are they going to go at that point?
Yeah.
They're going to come back because you're feeding them.
Well, I don't think he is. I think,
like,
nothing? I don't know. I guess he maybe has things out there for them, but he didn't get into a lot of, what?
Special treats?
Yeah. Like, I guess he didn't get into a lot of detail about it, but he lets them just roam his land as they please, bulls with the cows, and when he wants meat, he hunts them. So the cow, because they did scientifically experimented with, you could take a cow that's going to the butcher from a regenerative farm and a cow from a CAFO, and their levels of cortisol after being killed is the same because of the stress level. Because think about it, you're taking this regenerative,
killed,
huh?
Because they're still getting killed,
right? And you're taking them out of their environment into this warehouse that you're out of the herd that their family.
Oh yeah, I mean, that sounds awful. Like,
right, so it's like you're doing all of these practices.
They're still smart animals,
Right, and you're doing all of these practices to make better quality meat. Right. Remember, when they have cortisol in them, we eat that cortisol. Yeah. You're doing all of these practices to make better quality meat, but then we go and butcher them the same way. And it's the same level of cortisol, at least, Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there are other factors that are still better, but it's just what he's talking about specifically. So when he goes and he lets them live as a herd, as they would in nature, and then he hunts them and they don't see him coming, right? He's hunting from afar. Yeah. And then, so they tested the cortisol levels and the ones that he killed from afar that didn't see him. And even if you have to go up to them and finish them off, it's still, the cortisol levels are way down because they're still in their environment, in nature. They're not scared of death. They're just scared of that unnatural situation, I guess, basically. Yeah. And I loved that concept to me. Like, all this time I was like, I want land, I want a regenerative farm, but no, if I could have 400 acres, I would 100% do that. Yeah, and what if we could, like, you had rich people who owned large amounts of land, let these herd animals just go on the land, and when people needed meat, you went and you hunted them.
That'd be a really awesome way for those people to, like, because they're just like hoarding all that land, but then it's like, what kind of social experiment can we turn that shit into?
Oh God, there would always be people who ruin it, but like
they'd be like, oh, I can do that, but then like I can collect some data too, or whatever. Who knows?
Some what?
Data.
Oh yeah.
Because like the people who own all the land, is it Bill Gates or whatever? He owns most of our land in the United States.
Well, he owns a lot of land. He's buying up land, and a bunch of foreign countries are buying up all of the land in our countries, which is insane. And that's what's driving up the price of land right now, because foreign countries are buying them for high dollar. So that drives up the prices and makes us not be able to afford it.
And they're gonna just like build chemical companies and whatever.
Who knows what their real intentions are?
But it's brutal, man. At first, whenever you were talking about that regenerative farmer, I thought it was that calf. I was like, oh, is that the people that's making that half calf you were asking me about, like going in with you?
That would be so cool.
I was like, oh, well, if it was that, then yes, I will.
By the way, he just said that somebody else wants a half a cow and asked me if I wanted to go in on it, and I am. So you're out. Sorry.
I'm fine. I can't.
I figured you wouldn't really care.
I do not. I can't. Not right now.
Yeah.
Plus, we're talking about moving possibly, and so it's like, do I really want a deep freezer full of stuff if that's going to happen?
So y'all are like moving that soon?
No. I mean, how much meat am I eating, Rachel?
I could probably go through that amount of meat in like a half a year or less.
It's a lot of meat.
I mean, do y'all not eat meat every night?
We do, but not beef every night. Like chicken, probably chicken a couple nights, and then beef maybe once, and then a pork, and then maybe one night, I don't know how many nights that was, but another one that's just vegetarian.
We always eat meat, but we do eat a lot of beef. Nick hates chicken, but Bentley likes chicken, so I make chicken for him. But so we mostly eat beef. We eat pork sometimes, but I'm trying to stay away from pork because I can't find good quality pork, and conventional pork is like the worst.
You should just come up once a month. I'm trying to make an effort to come down, trying to do once a month to do that homeschool PE. But you should make an effort to come up here once a month. And I know, well, you can go to your like grocery shopping on the way back home. You like look stressed out.
Well, it's just, that's too much. I already have to go to Whole Foods, Costco, and then the farmers market. But plus, it's too expensive to buy like that. Like if I'm gonna buy some pork like that, I want to buy like I'm buying this half cow. I don't know if that's a thing. I'm sure it is somewhere.
For sure. Yeah, do
like
that. Maybe you can just call, like reach out to the person that's not in charge of, that has the pork. Jubilee Farms, I think, in Covington. But I'm sure there's other people that have it. I mean, hogs are pretty prevalent in your parts, right?
Yeah, but hogs are like wild hogs. They say taste nasty. A lot of people like it's totally different taste.
Well, I guess, yeah, I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Not wild hogs. I mean, you could. I know, like, people were obsessed. Eat them. Oh, yeah. Whenever I worked at Lafarge in Pearl River, they had a big wild hog problem, and we would actually have, so in that class, you know, we got away from nature several times. So agriculture, obviously, huge problem. And then next with the Industrial Revolution, which changed also taking small cities away into making huge cities where we have like lots of people reliant on limited services, right?
Right.
So that was this huge turn. And then more recently, we have had the internet age, right? This like cell phone nation, and how that's all changed our EMFs, what we talk about.
At this point, we're completely out of touch with nature. Like
we keep going.
Almost 100%.
Yes. And so in this class, I asked her, I said, well, what do you think the next one's going to be? And so what do you think the next one's going to be?
I mean, well, I'm hoping that there is not a next one that they're like, but people are starting to become aware of this. Okay. This is actually starting to become on mainstream news, which is mainstream news is so corrupt. So for them to start covering this stuff means it's really starting to become, people are waking up to it. So for us to move further away and more into the direction of out of touch with nature, unhealthy, doesn't seem like that's where we're headed right now. Honestly, I don't think, I mean, there's still going to be worse. I mean, what, going to space?
I didn't even think of that one. That's a good one. I said AI, that I thought artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
I mean, it's already here, but I'm talking about, you know, this scary universe where we have, you know, robots that are, I don't know, you know, you see that where they like rule us at some point because they are designed to be smarter than us, you know?
Yeah.
And so that's scary.
That's always been in the movies and everything people think is coming.
But space also scares me, and I feel bad because Mike and I sometimes butt heads on this because he is involved in the space industry and he loves it. That's he's wanted to be an astronaut since he was a kid, you know. But I'm like, why are we going back to the moon? Like, really? Are we just gonna go fuck it up? Like, we fucked up this planet, now we're just gonna go somewhere and fuck their shit up too, and maybe when we're done with that one, we'll just move on to the next, you know?
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's like, why? That seems to be a recurring theme. It's like, okay, instead of fixing the problem, we're just gonna keep doing the same shit and moving on, and until we, you know what I mean? Like, why? You know, like there are solutions to these problems. They make you believe that there aren't. Just like they're like, oh, there's no solution to CAFOs and monoculture, agriculture. How are we gonna feed the world? You can do it. It just takes a different mind frame. You have to look at it different. It would take many more farms. It would take for farmers to make more money, to be incentivized to farm. But it would, you know what I mean? It would take things, but it's possible. It would take for people to care, you know? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's wild. Like, the idea that we just need to find this other place when this place we have is pure perfection. There is nothing more perfect than the place that we have right now. You cannot get any more perfect than trees and plants and all these things that grow where they're supposed to grow, because they just know somehow this universe is connected, and their geographical location and the climate and the people and all these factors, like, you know, the waste that we excrete and other animals excrete, like, probably communicates with the ground on what to grow, and like all this stuff. It's like amazing, you know?
Yeah.
Like, so if we could just stop messing it up and appreciate what we have.
Is people don't understand how out of touch we are with, like, they don't even understand how important it is that we are part of nature. They like a lot of people just think that, because this is what we've all of us have always known. We've always known living in a house under artificial light, electricity, I know even most of us computers, like all of this we don't even know anything else. And we just think that this is normal. Like a lot of people can't even step out of that and realize that this is very unnormal. And actually people haven't been living like this for very long. You know, just, I don't know. People just need to think, you know, and stop caring about all these crazy, irrelevant, unimportant things.
Doesn't matter. We talk about all the time. Items, you know, I get how items like buying stuff. I mean, I get it because I have a problem with it. I just spent so much money on Amazon because it's convenience, you know. I want to turn my Wi-Fi off at night, but I have 3 spots that have Wi-Fi. And so I bought this thing that plugs in the wall and you turn it off with a like remote or whatever every night. Do I need that? But like, I'm just too lazy to come and like unplug them because then it's just not going to happen, you know? But it's just like nonstop. We just like consumed with consuming.
Yeah.
You know what my girls have been doing like the past day and a half? We got an Amazon catalog in the mail yesterday.
Oh, I got one of those too.
And
threw it in the garbage.
Are like literally lusting over it. And my mom's just like them. She wants stuff too. And so they're just going over it. My mom's like, oh, we could put this there. Just totally like enabling them.
Yeah, no, I already knew. That's why I went straight in the garbage and didn't even let my kids see it. We also got like a Walmart one or something before that one, and the kids saw me pull it out of the mailbox, and I hurried up and threw it in the trash, and they were like, what was that? What was that? And they hurried up and pulled it up because they, ever since they were very little, would get these Christmas time magazines with all the toys and would open it up and start circling the things they want for Christmas, and of course it'd be like 100 things.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, because I don't even want to buy presents this year for Christmas. Like, I'm so done with it. You know, it took me a long time. I've been saying that for years, but I'm really, really done with it. But yeah, that one went straight in the garbage.
Just one thing.
I mean, maybe.
Not like super expensive, but I mean, like, you know, I used to love doing that too. Is that really horrible if you're in control and you're like, you know, I'll take these suggestions and I'll probably get my kid one of these things that they have circled. You know, I'll decide which one I'm going to get them and they'll be happy.
My thing personally is that, I'm not talking about anybody else, but my kids have everything they want, literally. Like, they have everything they want to the point of, like, they go to the store, they just start wanting junk, like pure junk that they're going to play with for 1 hour and never touch again. And just because they just want something. There's nothing that they really want. And when they do really, really want something that I know they're going to really use or they really need, I get it. I always get it all throughout the year. You know, like they have $500 iPads, Apple Pencils, AirPods that I hate that I bought. I wish I wouldn't have bought them, but I did. You know, Oculuses, each one, computers, laptops. They have everything. That's all they want. And they don't need anything. If there was something they need and wanted really bad, I'll get it. But I'm not going to buy another junk toy for them to throw on the floor. That stresses me out. It stresses them out because they have to clean it up. It's just, I'm done with junk. I won't buy anything they don't need.
I know I struggle because like I go to the Dollar Tree to get stuff because I guess I'm bad about arts and crafts because they love to do arts and crafts and I like to do it too, and it's like an easy way for me to play with them one-on-one. It's honestly because I like it probably more than they do, and I can actually spend time with them and do something I like. But I buy all kind of stupid shit at Dollar Tree and Michael's, you know, to do crafts that are, you know, again, like you were talking about a couple minutes of enjoyment, but I don't know.
Well, I mean, it depends, you know, if that's something for you to spend time with them and you're going to use it more than once, then it's worth it, you know? Yeah. But I'm talking like, so for Christmas, birthdays, so many people just buy shit. Just say, here, I bought you a gift.
I know.
And I'm trying to teach my kids that we don't need to just consume and buy shit just to buy it. You know?
I feel you. You know, for Christmas, I was thinking, I have all this beeswax because it went on sale at Whole Foods a while back. And I use those beeswax covered fabric. Like, they're like cling wrap, but they're not cling wrap because it's made of beeswax, but you can like cinch them. Have you ever seen those?
You showed it to me, I think, but I didn't look at it in great detail.
Oh, I love it. I use it constantly, especially if I chop half a vegetable or something. You just like wrap it in that, put it in the refrigerator, you rinse it off after, and it's beeswax on fabric. So easy to make. You just need fabric and beeswax, and you yeah, and like, but so I have all this fabric because I went through this phase where I was gonna pursue making stuff. I went to like 1 or 2 classes, And I wanted to make this really cute apron, and I got this really cute floral fabric, and I was like, oh, I should do with that because it's so cute. But then I'm like, it's not organic cotton, and so I don't know, but maybe it's fine. In the name of using stuff that I have and not being a throwaway society, I'll just use it and get over that.
Well, yeah, because you're probably wearing clothes that aren't organic cotton anyway.
Yeah. You busted me, you bitch.
I mean, we all are. I mean, unless we had been on this journey for a long ass time. I mean, it's like really expensive to just go straight into all organic cotton. I mean, I have a lot of stuff I wear now, but not all of it.
So I have a lot of, like, I could be on a wardrobe consisting of that, but so I thrifted a lot. And when you thrift it, like, you feel like you have to take everything you can get because you found this glory gauze cotton thing, you know, so I'll buy it. And it's like not exactly what I would have wanted, or it's too short, because all those dresses are just so short. Like, why do we have to have such short dresses? But so I have a lot of kind of ill-fitting things, I find.
Yeah.
And I don't have any shorts, and I'm still in shorts, and I don't know what I'm going to do about leggings.
You don't like the packed leggings?
They're so expensive. I can't bring my cheap ass to buy them.
They're literally
Rachel,
like $35 a pair.
I'm cheap.
I'm sure you have some like the leggings I have that are not cotton, like, you know, from Fabletics, are more expensive than that.
I never spend that
what
much
kind of
money.
fucking leggings do you buy?
Well, the ones I have now, like, they feel like butter soft. They're like pastel and like V-waist.
What did you pay for them?
$20.
Oh.
But $20 was like probably my max of what I would pay for them. And I should have bought them when they were on sale with Pact when they were.
I don't know. I think $35 is really worth it. And I mean, again, you get what you pay for. You have to get out of that.
I'm like, did I find it in the dumpster?
Like, it's not like you're broke.
I like want to go, you know, have you seen videos where people go behind stores and like, dig in the dumpster and get all this stuff out of the dumpster? Like, I want to do that. I would love to do that.
Nick's mom does that.
Huh?
Nick's mom does that.
Where didn't she find stuff?
She used to find, I mean, she hasn't really been doing it lately, but she used to, and she would find stuff all the time. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. I want to.
Yeah, because like they throw out brand new stuff. You know?
No, but I feel like I'm not supposed to be back there doing that. You know,
I think you can get in trouble. You know?
Yeah.
Depends.
And then it's also the embarrassment factor. Like you,
I don't know. People know that people do that. That's a big thing.
I want to do it. I don't know about it.
But what about your lady though? Like what after she said about the AI? Like what?
So then we started talking about what our body's made of, the elements and things like that, but also the microbiome of our bodies and how our bodies just have just in a microbiome in all regions of the body. You know, our lungs, our gut, all our mouth, all these different things have their own microbiome.
We need to do a podcast on microbiome. I'm glad you
should add that. Make note to self.
Yeah.
And you know, we kill off our microbiome by, you know, all these different things that we take antibiotics. Obviously, that's a big one, but also in the food we eat and how disruptive all these chemicals that are in our food, all these preservatives, these gums, seed oils, all this stuff is wrecking our microbiome and taking that away from our body. And so just, you know, wreaks havoc, obviously, on our bodies by
and allows opportunistic things like viruses and stuff, it allows opportunistic microbes to come in and make us sick because we don't have the right population of all the good ones to fight it off. And also, when we get sick with a bacterial infection, it's not necessarily that bacteria was bad. It was that it's disproportionate. That bacteria took over and is populating more than the others. And it's supposed to be a balance, right?
Yes.
Like staph, we have that all over us where it's not bad until it gets where it doesn't belong, or it's like too much of it.
It's excessive, yeah.
Yeah.
Because like your other defenders can't, like, you know, and that's the same thing with cancer. We have cancer cells in our body all the time. It's, you know, always there, and our body has these miracle things inside of them that are constantly fighting these cancer cells and killing them the way that they're designed to do. It's just at some point when you eat all this bad stuff, you live next to a refinery, whatever the circumstances are, you're destroying the good guys, and now these bad guys are gonna go unchecked, you know? So that's why it's like, yeah, I get it. You've eaten this way your whole entire life, but like, it's gonna get you one day, you know?
And people don't realize that it is getting them. They're like, oh, I'm fine. But I hear people say it all the time, but I know they're struggling with something.
Yeah.
It's usually like, it might not be life-threatening, so they think it's not a big deal. But
well, I mean, I see people that do have big deal stuff, and they're still
that too. But I'm just talking about.
Hear it.
I'm talking about the people who maybe it's skin issues, like maybe you have psoriasis, or maybe it's just
eczema.
acne, or maybe you have fatty liver disease. You know, like some people like think, oh well, you know, it's not too bad, but like it will. That's just the beginning stages. It starts. That's a sign. That is your body screaming out, hey, we have an issue here. And then you ignore it for more years, and then you end up getting cancer or some other terrible, deadly disease. And you don't even realize that you've been having signs you were ignoring, you know, and that it was coming from the foods and the chemicals you're exposed to, and you just don't know it because it took you years to get there.
Yep.
Yeah. So
and like with your friend Jenny, it's not necessarily that she did anything worse than you or me, right? It's just that her body didn't have enough of those good guys to begin with, or you know, she was compromised in some other region that she couldn't afford at this point to eat all the bad stuff or any of the other stuff, because she needed every chance she could get to survive because of her makeup and her body, you know?
Yeah. Well, because also like people are like, oh, it's genetics, which we are
and it
all
is in some cases.
Well, yeah, but that's rarely where it's like purely genetics, right? Like we're all predisposed genetically to certain diseases. Like, for example, my mom has Parkinson's, so it's very likely that I could be prone to get Parkinson's disease. It doesn't mean I will definitely get it, but if I live a very unhealthy lifestyle, my chances of getting it skyrocket. Whereas if I live a very healthy lifestyle, healthy natural lifestyle, I may never get that. Not even close, because it's the GMOs and all the things, all the bad things, not just the GMOs, they are turning on the switches. Like, oh, the Parkinson's switch, I'm going to flip that on. Your body's in chaos, so we're flipping on all the bad switches of all the things you're genetically predisposed to. Whereas it would have never gotten switched on if you didn't expose your body. What?
Or at least you're giving yourself a fighting chance, you know. It might not, like, I'm not to say, like, I don't know, there's still
I'm not
other
even
factors.
saying that you have to do everything perfectly right either for you to not get these things. Like, we
No,
are
I get
all
it.
genetically predisposed to things, and it's always been that way. It doesn't mean, like, just because your grandma had the breast cancer that is the genetic one, that you're gonna get it, or that you have a very strong chance. Like, you could very well not get it. You don't have to live a perfect life, but you just have to live a better life. Like, I read a whole book on this, so it's like I feel like I'm not giving it out. Like, I'm not saying it correctly for it to resonate.
Yeah.
But the whole genetic thing is just like they don't understand, so they're just saying, "Oh, it's genetics. It's genetics." If that was the case, everybody has terrible genetics. We're doomed. We're all gonna die. Like, the human race is going to end.
Well, eventually you will die.
Well, I mean, like, as far as the human race would just end. If our genetics are that bad. It's not that. It's our environment. What's the word I'm looking for?
Mutating?
Mutating our genetics.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, it's just, that stuff's all so crazy.
And that's where epigenetics comes in, which is why I wanted to speak about that so much. That's why I want to do a podcast.
Like, not super, like, up on that or whatever.
Yeah.
Let's see.
So what's next with the thing?
So then we talked about rhythms, which you're really into. She talked about the circadian rhythm. She talked about the moon and how those can affect like women's cycles, and women are affected by the moon and have longer cycles, and men are affected by the sun cycle, and their cycles go through really fast, you know, like maybe they have a couple moments where it's like they're PMSing, you know, but we have a longer period of that kind of activity.
That makes sense. Sometimes I think Nick is PMSing.
Yeah, well, they do it during like at a certain time per day instead of like women.
Yeah, and that would make sense because that's how it is. Like, it's like quicker. And I'm like, God, like, you definitely seem like you're going through it.
Yeah, so it's just like really cool, but you know, there's lots of different cycles, that we go by, lots of patterns in nature. She talked about really cool. So then we got into the pelvis, because the pelvis is like super important. The word pelvis from Latin means basin. So we're thinking of our pelvis as a basin, as a big holding vessel for our whole top of our body, right? Our blood supply, our nerves go down into that region that control the rest of the body. We excrete our waste from our pelvis. Our capability of breeding children is in our pelvis. Like how just structurally important the pelvis is to our bodies. You know, it plays this vital role, but it's very neglected. Like no one's really like, you know, we'll talk about our heads or whatever, you know, our brains, you know, but like our pelvis, like who's like, pelvis is not the glory.
Yeah.
It's not like the varsity football player of our body.
The MVP.
The MVP, that's what I was trying to say. So it was just cool. It was just cool, man. We talked about the pelvis, and I guess because she's going to warm up to do an abdominal massage, which is her whole thing, is the abdominal massage, and how it's important to get that blood flow moving through our pelvis, the drainage of lymphatic down our legs where it's supposed to go, opening up the ability to just have that blood flow in our gut, like our stomachs, our intestines, colon. She talks about all that stuff in her class. So
is she going to show you how to do it?
Yeah, that's the next class, the one I sent you in October.
Man, I need to go. Is it too late to go since I missed that one though?
No, it's not. You need to just email her. The class is going to be so cool. Like, I mean, just the stuff she was saying, it was just blows your mind to hear this stuff. I'm not nearly like giving out this information the way she did. You have to take the class. But then she mentioned at the end about how as we evolved over time, women couldn't have babies inside of them. It was people like lizard kind of creatures and dinosaurs, whatever, like laid eggs. And then at some point, a virus that was a variant of HIV made it to where the cells could have a barrier, a placenta that will encapsulate them and keep them safe against the mother's body, because, you know, the mother's body is going to want to eradicate anything that's not supposed to be inside of it, you know? And so that virus actually made us able to carry babies instead of
to reproduce.
Not to reproduce. We could they could reproduce, but they couldn't carry it inside their body.
Oh.
Because we're not naturally. What other thing do we carry inside our body that our body's not trying to get rid of? Nothing. It had to be like the egg and the baby and all had to be protected. The embryo had to be protected inside of us so that our body wouldn't attack it.
So how does she know this though? Because obviously this is controversial compared to what a lot of other scientists say. So where does she get this info from?
I mean, I didn't ask her.
I guess this is her theory, or who she's following someone with this theory.
What's controversial about that?
Well, not everybody thinks people have started that way.
Well, not everybody believes in the big. You're saying you don't believe in the Big Bang?
I'm not saying what I believe. I don't know what I believe as far as how people have started.
Well, I mean, if you're going to think that that's controversial, then you'll also think the Big Bang was controversial. So,
but even say the Big Bang happened, we still don't know if that's how people came. You know what I'm saying? I was just wondering.
Evolved?
Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what happened really. I'm not saying she's wrong. I'm just wondering where she why she thinks that, or where she gets it from. I was just curious.
I don't know, but it sounds like it could be an option. Doesn't sound like out of the realm of possibility.
No.
When you look at, look at the evolution and all that stuff over time. There's a lot of information about evolution and how that.
I've just heard a lot of different stories about evolution, a lot of different ones. So there's so many people out there who have a different version of how that would have went.
This is, I don't know what version this is, but. It's just cool to think about. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know what happened. I wasn't there.
No, nobody really knows.
But I think it sounds really cool to talk like this.
Well, I mean, you're not going to get a solid answer.
So it's cool, cool stuff. I think it's really engaging and interesting to flex my brain and think that,
No, yes, definitely. I always listen to all the theories. Mm-hmm. That's how you come up with your own.
Yeah.
If you only listen to one, if that's what a lot of people do, they listen to one thing, right? They only go down this path and they won't even entertain any other path. They're like, nope, witchcraft,
right here,
just conspiracy theorist, What else? They just write it off immediately. They won't even hear it. And you need to, even if you don't agree with it, you need to hear it, because a lot of times you might even understand it more if you actually just listen to it. But you might listen to it and you might still be like, okay, this bullshit. Yeah. But
I loved it. I thought it was really freaking cool.
Yeah.
So then the last thing that she said basically was, you know, like, we feel as a species, like, that are we domesticating viruses in a lab, or are viruses domesticating us? Like, how that they interfere with our body and do things inside of us. And it was like mind blown, dude.
I'm thinking about that right now.
Viruses are domesticating us. So it's like, what did COVID do? This virus must have done something inside of us. Maybe it's maybe, you know, we think of it as bad stuff all the time, but maybe it's something that we needed to be able to survive, you know?
Well, maybe, but I mean, it was kind of man-made. It was a man-made virus, right? I mean,
or
it was a virus from bats that they made able to communicate, to be, I don't know the right word, for humans to catch it.
So there's probably some, I don't know, like, who knows what the repercussions.
I think it definitely has changed. It seems like COVID did something to society, though, because I mean, it's like the whole world changed. I don't know.
I don't know. Like, in my personal situation, I feel that COVID made my life better, because we had kids at that time. We were both working a lot, and it put us back at home in that time that we would have never gotten with the girls when they were infants. But also just like change the structure of Mike's job to work from home, whereas that was like never on the table before.
Yeah, no, it did make I think a lot of people could say that their lives got better after COVID.
Yeah. I think it just like it made a refocus into home life, where we were continuing to be so far away, but it kind of brought everybody back together a little bit.
It also was like when people really started to wake up to corruption and things like that.
Yes, and lots of things, you know, with that, people have started to think a little bit outside the box. Also, like, people, like, started travel, like, some people, like, got a camper and, like, went and, like, did these crazy travels. That was, like, so awesome. Hey, guys, thanks so much for joining us. We have a really great chat today, and we're so happy that you're here. Please like, subscribe, and share with a friend, and see us again every week on Friday.